Do the Niners have a leadership void?
That is a good question. I don't know who the leader of the defense is. I thought Fred Warner was horrible yesterday. Horrible. And you don't have a leadership voice. I would say Armstead, but you don't really have a voice when you're not on the field. So that hurts. I would probably say Jimmy Ward, but he hasn't been on the field. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who the leader is of the offense. Is it Kyle? Is it Jimmy? Is it Kittle? Is it McGlinchey? Is it Trent? I don't know.
Who's the leader of the defense? Is it D'Amico? It seems to me like this team has had a bit of a leadership void for a while. And last year was very improbable. They started off 3-5, and Debo was kind of the leader of the team. He put the team on his back in a way I haven't seen one player that's not a quarterback do it in a very long time. But right now, it looks like there's no leader on this team. And frankly, you look at what Robert Saleh's doing in New York. Everyone praised Kyle Shanahan for turning the Niners around in 3 years. Well, Saleh did it in 2. They're 5-2 in New York, and he is such a quintessential leader. I mean, it's obvious. I feel like he served a lot of those functions for this team when they went to the Super Bowl. He was discreet about it, but he was the emotional heartbeat of the team. He was the guy who actually showed emotion on the sideline. This is Kyle. This is my impression of Kyle on the sideline. I mean, he's like in his own world, which is great when he's on, but now he's not even on. I wonder if people are looking at him like, man, like this guy doesn't have the answers anymore, and he's just bland.
It's been a very bizarre year because they don't look good. They haven't looked good, but if they can beat the Rams and go into the bye 4-4, everything's still there for them in the second half of the year. So
yeah, but at the same time, if you got blown out by Atlanta, you can't pencil any game in as win, except for the Rams. The Niners always beat the Rams, but I'm saying like the Raiders, they could definitely lose to the Raiders, who are terrible.
Yeah. Oh, they can lose to anybody.
Anybody.
It's absolutely a week-to-week league. I mean, and if they keep making mistakes, 10 penalty. I mean, let's look at they've lost 4 games.
Yeah.
-3 in turnovers against Atlanta. Loss. -3 in turnovers against they had 3 turnovers yesterday. They were -1. They were -3 in turnovers against Denver. Lost.
Right.
They had double-digit penalties against the Bears and then the monsoon. Lost. Yesterday, they had both turnovers and penalties. They had 10 penalties yesterday. Mm-hmm. If this team can just stop creating mass penalties and mass turnovers,
but what you're saying is what you're describing is
that is the beginning of winning or losing football. Right, you can't win games when you're -3.
Right, but what you're describing is a team that lacks leadership and accountability. Straight up. That's what this team is. They lack leadership. They're a poorly coached team. Yes, they're talented. And that's what makes this team so tragic. They're extremely talented, and they're underperforming more than any team that I can think of in the NFL. And sure, it's early, and they have everything in front of them, and they're probably going to beat the Rams this week because the Rams can't score either. But, wow, even if they beat the Rams, they can't walk around with their chests puffed out during the bye week like, oh, we got this figured out. No! Beat the Chargers the week after that. You know?
I mean, it's a top 5. It's a top 5 in the NFL roster, and it's it's a sub 500 team.
And people said this was a top 5 coach. People said it's the best young coach in the league. All right, man, show it. Do some coaching. Coach it up.
Yeah. I mean, it all lands with him, Grant. I mean, it's not about us and what we're saying. It's just the reality of NFL football. The coach is the central figure in the organization. So if they win, it's way to go, coach. And when they lose, it's like, hey, it's absolutely on the coach, and there's no hiding it, no running from it.
And I feel like this Christian McCaffrey trade kind of backfired on Kyle in a sense that it takes away another excuse from him. He can't be like, well, I lost Elijah Mitchell. I don't have the running backs I want. Nah, you got everyone. You got all the weapons in the world, and you still scored 23 points against a defense that was like 26th in the league and score a bad defense.
So now, they scored 14 against Atlanta. Atlanta was 27th in the league defensive DVOA.
So you can't say it's Jeff. Again, the fact that the one guy you decided to replace on offense was Jeff Wilson Jr., nothing against Christian McCaffrey. But they've been trying to replace Jeff Wilson Jr. for like 4 years. How many running backs have they acquired while he's been on the team playing well. So strange to me. And he
Only-
came out
I look
yesterday
at
with
that-
something to
I
prove.
look at it different. I don't think he was replacing Jeff Wilson. One of my takeaways from that Atlanta game, and I talked about it in the post game, is their weapons lack explosiveness. They added an explosive weapon. I'm okay with them adding an explosive weapon that they think they want to have on their team long term. I got no problem with that, but you got to produce. You got to win games. And I'll say this too: you got 10 touches to McCaffrey. I didn't like the way they used him. I mean, they're running
after the script.
They're running him up the middle.
Yeah, after the script, they had no creativity.
Guy in space.